Good morning, everybody. We are off to this beautiful project. This is a John Deere 470G LC, and she's got run a fair amount further than she ought to have. So we're getting set up here to start putting some weld in the hole. When one's this bad, the bore welder don't do you any good. I mean, if you had one of the fancy schmancy ones with pie mode, you could do something with it, but it's still, one this bad, you're better off just firing up your welding machine and going to it by hand. So that's what we're about to set off to doing here. We are going to be at this for a good long time. So anyhow, we'll keep you guys posted on progress. All right, so we've been welding a while now. You can see I've laid quite a few beads in the bottom. I decided to go ahead and build the face up so that I can run my beads inside right out onto my face buildup. I've also done quite a bit of welding in this side. I was experimenting with running 045 solid core in here. I've never tried that on buildup before, but it just didn't work good. It runs too hot, and you can see like all these goobers on the edge. I just couldn't get the edge to build up. It wanted to flow off the edge on me like mad. So after about half an hour of fighting with that, I gave up and went back to my 045 dual shield. So this is all 045 dual shield in this hole, getting a lot nicer, cleaner results. So, but we are going to be here a dang long time. I mean, if I had to guess at it, I bet we put 15 pounds of wire in here before we're finished. So it's a heck of a project. I'll show you guys this. So I was welding along, building up this face. All of a sudden there was this ear-shattering bang. I'm under the welding helmet, scared the crap out of me. Took me to figure out, see this? So this thing hammered and pounded so much that it just peened the grease passage over in there. It built so much pressure that it blew the guts out of the Zerks fitting. I mean, it sounded like at least a 22 going off next to my ear when that thing went out of there. So the way it unraveled it, I'd say it's a good thing it wasn't aimed at my head, or that ball bearing might be embedded in it. So anyway, that's a first. I never had one of them do that before. Pretty crazy. Anyways, I'm gonna go back at it just so I can show you that. Pretty entertaining. Yeah, that thing's still stuck in there. Anyway, show you more when there's something to see. All right, we're cashing her in for the day. I think I've got this hole round enough that the bore welder can take over. This hole, I probably got another hour or so of welding in here before I'm to the stage where it will handle bore welding, but we're getting there. It's supposed to be pretty crappy, rainy weather here tomorrow, so I think I'm not going to come back until Wednesday and spend tomorrow in my shop. But anyway, we're making progress. We'll keep you guys posted. All right, everybody. So been doing some more hand welding, and I decided I had had enough. It's snowing out here, not a lot at the moment, but very cold, snow falling, and I decided screw that. We fired up the bore welder and made a couple passes, and it looks shockingly good for how rough that hole is. You can see I have got a serious MacGyver setup going on here. Got my ladder, using a ratchet strap to adjust the height, but anyways, it's working. We're gonna have a roll at it and see how she does. All right, well, she's running. I can't believe it's even working as well as it is. There's so much breeze out here. I figured I'd be getting tons of porosity, but so far she's running pretty good. We'll see what she does. All right, there's the second hole welded up. You can see I am fighting wind out here like crazy. Got this hunk of steel propped up here trying to shield it a bit, but if you look close down in there, you can see a whole bunch of porosity. And then you'd get a big gust of wind, like there's a spot there where just for no good reason all of a sudden. Now I'm fighting porosity all the way through here because it's hard to tell at this angle, but the hole wasn't round, and that was where there was a big dip in it, so my stick out was really too far all the way across there. But I went ahead and let it run. what this is doing is putting enough material in here now that I can set up and bore it, and I'm actually going to go in here, overbore this thing, 50 thou on a side, and then put in a nice cap pass, or 2 or 3, I don't know. But what I'm trying to do is just get enough material in here that I can actually start cutting. I went in here and hand welded a bunch of the goobery looking spots that I didn't like the looks of, and I'll do the same thing now on this second side, where I'll go in and you know, there's some voids over on this side. It's hard to see because because this is all just sitting here funny, I'm not dead lined up, and it'd start getting where it was tracking wrong, and I'd have to reset it, and it'd leave a groove that didn't fill in. So I'm gonna go in there, hand weld those up, and then the next step is gonna be setting up the boring gear and starting to cut this out. They did, by the way, get me the bushings that I was hoping they would, and got these ones with a face on them. That is going to save some serious screwing around with this one, because this machine didn't originally have those kind. So what that means is I've got enough material on the faces now that I can basically just square it up, and I don't have to build up the extra ½ inch of missing material, because this has got, oh, it's about 3/8, I guess, and I've already put probably close to a ½ inch on there, but once it gets squared up, I'll be probably 1/8 inch that I've added, maybe 3/16. But anyways, we'll see how it all comes out. I might have to do a little more welding on the faces, but once again, at this point, other than to touch it up, we're not going to do any more welding until I get my bar set up, skim cut it, and then by the next time we're running the bore welder, it'll be mounted on my boring bar mounts just like it normally is. And but as you can see, as ugly as all that is, you figure where we started, the hole is a little, I don't know what you'd call that shape, but it ain't round, but it's definitely, you figure when I started, we were clear down here somewhere. That's all weld buildup from there all the way to there. So anyway, we're making progress. It's just slow going. All right, here we are, ready to roll again. So you can see I have taken my spare bar, set it up on lineup cones on the top set of holes. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I don't love doing this way. I prefer to go in there with, you know, I've made up all these different spacers like this to fit in different size holes for my bar. That's really how I would prefer to be in there. But they're not wanting to pull those top bushings because they're in pretty good shape. So we're going to do it this way. I'd say there's slightly more chance for error, but it's not terrible. So anyway, we're going to roll with that. In a perfect world, I'd have them bushings out, have alignment bushings, or not bushings, but alignment sleeves slid in there. But this, if it was on this hole, I probably would object. This one, the sides wear quite flat, and that's what I found out really throw these off, is if you got a surface that's worn all cockeyed, the cone gets shifted one way or the other. But on this one, that hole rarely wears funny, so we're going to go ahead and roll with that. And then you can see I've got my hillbilly centering rings here because this hole was so blown. So I've determined that I believe the original center distance here was 500 millimeters between those holes. So I'm setting up to pull measurements between the bars, and then I've got this my digital level out to level up between the bars. I'll zero it on this top one and then transfer down to the bottom one and see how that looks, and play with my screws on my adjusting rings until I get it as true as I can, then put my bearings on and then fine-tune it with the bearings in place. This whole setup is just so that I can get within the adjustment range on my bearings. Well, we're just sitting here watching her eat. Squared up, centered up, trued up, and now cruising along. My biggest concerns are I'm a little worried I might end up with bar chatter because I'm a long ways between my bearings here. Some of that's because I was forced to mount this further out than I normally would to give clearance for that facing head when I try it out. And then some of it's just, this is a big stick, so we may end up having to try and rig up a second bearing out on that end before it's all said and done, but we'll see. Right now she's doing pretty good, but you actually tend to get less chatter in an interrupted cut than you do in a continuous cut. Right now I'm just knocking the high spots off my goobery welds, and then we'll back up and take a swat through there. So you can see we're carving our way through. There's high spots and low spots. I'm not even out to what will be finished dimension yet. So good news is this hole has enough material in it that I probably only have to do one pass of weld in it. This one I didn't get welded up quite as well. I'm missing more material out of it. So what's probably going to happen is this one will get cut 50 over on the side, get one pass of weld in it, maybe a few spots will get touched up, and that'll be good to go. This one will need 2 or 3 before it cleans up. But we're slowly carving our way through here. All right, this pass is taking me 50 over on the side, and then next thing I'll do will be to go in there with a bore welder and bore this thing back and weld this sucker up. This one for sure one pass will do it. Remains to be seen over here because I've still got a lot that ain't cleaning up down in here, but we'll see what she looks like. Alright, so we are welding. I'm fighting the wind. It's driving me crazy. I can't keep, like I had a shield over this, keeps blowing off. I tried draping this whole thing with my big welding blanket. Wind just keeps gusting around, switching directions. I finally said screw it and threw it all on the ground, and we're just letting her rip. So far I'm not fighting any crazy porosity. I'll have a pock mark here and there, but we're just going to see what it does. Anyhow, if it gets too outrageous, we're going to have to open up a hole inside for this thing, but we'll see what this pass looks like after I get it laid in there. So, I don't know what's going on, but I just picked up some huge nasty goober that welded itself to my tip, wrecked it. Well, anyways, I'm going to have to, tear this all apart, clean her up. So anyways, fun stuff. Well, we got that one all welded up. Might have to touch up a few spots, but I think it's got enough material in it to mostly clean up. Now we're welding our way around on this side. Just off to a good start here. Alright, so this hole is roughed out to within 10 thou on a side of finished dimension, but it was still a little hot from welding, so I'm letting it cool off. This side I'm just on my first roughing pass through, but looking really nice. I'm not seeing any voids or porosity in there, so I think, and this one's cooler. We'll cut this one to finish dimension, and then it's going to be time to set up that facing head and see what she does. Okie dokie. Well, that one is bored to size. That one is bored to size. Now I just got to go after it with the facing tools, but it's getting late. I don't know, it's pushing 6 o'clock. It's cold out here. I'm going to tear down, shut down for the night, and we'll come back at this thing tomorrow morning and go after it with a facing tool. Yes, I'm missing a pretty good chunk there, but should not matter because these bushings have got a big shoulder in there. So once I get done facing so that I know what my depth is, then I got to go in and cut in that counter bore for that shoulder. So anyhow, that's where we're at, folks, but we're making progress, but it's going to be a 4-day job when she's all said and done. I say 4-day. I mean, I put about half a day in one, so we'll say 3.5-day job, but she's taking a minute or two. Good morning, everybody. So here we are, all ready to try out this facing head, and I overlooked a slight detail. I want you to see, can you see how ridiculously close that is? And then it hits over on the other side. But thankfully it's close enough that we're going to fix this problem with probably a combination of grinding on the corners on this thing. If I'd have known about this ahead of time, it'd have been easy to fix at my shop because I'd have stuck that thing on the bar in the lathe that I was testing it in and just turned it, cut the corners down. As it is, I may still end up doing that just to beautify it, but for now we're going to grind the corners down and see if we can get enough clearance to make this thing work. Alright everybody, so you can see we've done a nice little round off the top job. I did knock a little of the corner off the inside of my mounts. I'm running about 1/8 of an inch of clearance now, which is plenty. You can kind of see it there better. Anyway, that was a definite oh poop moment when I got to eyeballing this. I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe. At one point in the process, I thought, oh, well, them clear the mounts. I thought, oh, there's lots of room, and never checked. So anyways, moral of the story is measure everything. Sometimes, though, it's better to be lucky than smart, and this was one of those times. So anyhow, we're going to get this ball unrolled, this ball rolling, and see what we can do. All right, everybody, this is the first pass. Sun is kind of in from the wrong direction, but I'm just hitting some of the high spots. I don't want to get too greedy and break my tool bit right off the bat. So. Basic idea is looking pretty slick, though, I'm not gonna lie. They were just nicking a few high spots here. She's gonna get into her pretty good right here, it looks like. Working so slick. So it's about what I thought. That first pass, it's just like a first pass through the bore where you're hitting high spots and low spots and it's rough. But here I'm probably taking 30,000 steps to cut and running much smoother across the face of here now that it's a consistent, nothing over that, I guess, on the cut depth. So this is light years ahead of the way I've been doing this. I mean, it makes sense. There's a reason they invented facing heads. So I would say for my day of screwing around and my 300 or whatever, 350, I think I paid for this thing. Money and time well spent. This is looking absolutely awesome. All right, we're taking a pretty healthy cut here. I'd guess about 50 thousandths deep. It's gonna be my last pass. I don't really care if this face cleans up perfectly. I don't want to take off any more material than I have to. And I don't want to get into welding a bunch of these pockets up at this point. Cutting nice. With these having the wear faces built right into them, all I'm trying to get support behind the face of there. So if there's a couple voids and cavities in there, it's going to make no difference. But this will come pretty close to cleaning up. I'll have a few little peck marks here and there, but nothing outrageous. Working darn good, though. I'm pretty happy with it. One thing that was surprising is it jammed up at some point. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that it got a chip stuck in that wheel or something, and yanked this out of my hand, wrapped it around and bent it, and then turned loose. But even in normal use like here, it takes a lot more force to hold that rod than I expected it to. You pretty much want to let that ride up against something and hopefully not wreck your fingers. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna have a pretty good little void there down on the bottom edge, but nothing that I'm concerned about. All right, everybody, we're getting near the end of this project. Got my grease holes chased through. We're all done machining. You can definitely see some voids and pockets here. None of those matter enough that we're gonna chase them. You can see like there's a little porosity there in the edge of a weld, a little bit of a cold lap there. But down here in the actual bore where it's load bearing, we're in good shape. So get ready to press these things in. All right, get ready to stomp some bushings in here, everybody. Oh. So we got this old Duff Norton hydraulic pump unit. All right, watch the bushing over here, Wiggles. Step on her.
Tell me when to stop.
Well, everybody, that is it. rebuilt, bored, bushings pressed in, and ready to go back to work. I'll probably tag on the end of here and just put on how many hours I had in this job once figured out. I'll just make some notes and put some text in right in here somewhere, and just how many hours I had into it, just so you guys know how slow I am, I guess we'll put it that way. But anyways, I am very happy with how she came out. It's a good looking fix, and she'll run a good long ways for him again. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna go enjoy my weekend. Catch you next time.